If Mosul is liberated and ISIS is defeated there, what next? Former U.S. Ambassador John Bolton joins us now. He's a former ambassador to the United Nations, Fox News contributor and senior fellow at the American Enterprise Institute. Ambassador, always good to see you.
Glad to be with you.
Do you think the strategy that seems to be working will be successful?
Well, it may be working in the sense that Iraqi and Kurdish forces are advancing in and around Mosul, but it's taken 2 years to get to this point. And I would have to say, if you look at the shrinking territory in Iraq that ISIS has withdrawn from, they have retreated over the past year or so in pretty good order. And they've exfiltrated already significant numbers of their forces inside Mosul. And those who are there for their extremist religious reasons, I suspect, are prepared to fight to the end. I think tactically the fall of Mosul is only a question of time. The issue of how many innocent civilians will be killed and how many buildings will be left standing, and the overall casualties, though, very much up in the air. The bigger strategic picture is that if the Iraqi government resumes control of what used to be the country's second largest city, it will be a defeat for ISIS, but it will be a victory for Iran, because the Iraqi government today is functionally a satellite of the government of Iran, and it demonstrates, in my view, why the Obama administration's strategy for defeating ISIS is fundamentally flawed.
And in your view, what does that mean if indeed Iraq, as you say, is a satellite of Tehran?
Well, the Ayatollahs in Tehran for quite some time have been trying to expand their influence into an arc of power from Iran through a controlled government in Baghdad, the Assad regime in Syria, Hezbollah in Lebanon. And they're opposed to ISIS, obviously, because it's a direct threat to their interests there. That's why I think the United States strategy should have been to, with Arab allies, with the Kurds for sure, and in some way getting the Turks involved, if that were possible, consistent with aiding the Kurds, to defeat ISIS that way. This is not a two-sided war. As you just heard from Connor Powell, the Turks are in opposition to the Kurds and the Iraqi government as well as to ISIS. This is about a 5- or 6-sided war. And our strategy should have been defeat ISIS as quickly and as decisively as possible in a way that minimizes the upside for Iran. Instead, we're doing a slow-roll strategy against ISIS that, if successful, will maximize the benefit to Iran.
And the threat of Iran and the danger of Tehran controlling that. Let me show you what the Washington Post says today about what we may need to do and what we face in this country going forward if indeed Mosul falls. Here's the editorial saying, ultimately, victory over terrorist forces in Iraq will require a sustained American presence, both military and civilian, extending well beyond the liberation of Mosul. The president should be laying the groundwork for that now so that his successor can avoid Mr. Obama's signal mistake in Iraq, a premature and self-defeating withdrawal. That, of course, a reference to his not being able to, because of the status of forces agreement, he said, keep 10,000 troops, which, you know, Donald Trump says spawned ISIS in the first place.
Well, sustained American presence in Iraq, how's that for a theory that's about 5 years too late? Look, I don't think Obama was thwarted in efforts to keep American forces in Iraq by failure to reach a status of forces agreement. I think the failure to agree on a SOFA was just the pretext for him to get our forces out, which was his real objective right along. And interestingly, Hillary Clinton, although as usual her stand comes in a number of different formulations designed for the audience she's speaking to, has basically said no boots on the ground in Iraq, which would directly contradict the advice she's getting from the Washington Post. So I think Obama may not withdraw Americans before January the 20th, but if you listen to Hillary Clinton, if what she says in this campaign means anything, I believe she will.
Well, finally, I mean, there are boots on the ground. 4,800 troops, 100 special ops. And I want to pay tribute now to Navy Petty Officer Jason Finnan. He was 34 years old. He leaves a 12-year-old son, Christopher, and a wife. He's from Anaheim, California. He lost his life on Thursday by an IED. He was a bomb ordnance specialist. These are the brave men and women who are out there on the ground now, Ambassador, facing ISIS. And so far, there have been 4 American casualties facing their group.
Yeah, these Americans really have died in the service of their country. This is the way Americans are. Even though they're supposed to be advising and assisting the Iraqi forces, you can bet they're out there leading from the front when they can. And I really think honesty to the American people dictates we get a new formulation when people say, well, there won't be boots on the ground. As you say, there are American boots on the ground. They're out there risking their lives for our country, and we need to be more respectful of the dangers that they face in Iraq and in Syria and elsewhere around the world while we're on the subject.
And we salute them, anyone who's in harm's way, and we thank them. Ambassador, thank you as always. Good to see you.
Thank you, Eric.
Of course.